This happened to me and my best friend not too long ago, and to this day, I'm still not totally sure what we escaped from, but I know we did escape from something. We were bored one evening and decided to go out to the park near her house. It was late, but we were only going there for a smoke, just walking around, laughing, joking, doing that thing where you freak each other out on purpose. The park looked eerie in the dark, sure, but it was familiar, so we didn't think much of it. We ended up goofing off by one of the playgrounds, and while we were chilling, I started getting this weird feeling, like we were being watched. I chalked it up to the vibe and tried to shake it, but then I noticed shapes in the distance. Not like people, exactly, more like shadows that moved when you weren't looking straight at them. It gave me goosebumps. My friend was obviously creeped out too, because she said, "Let's take the other path out." So, we head down the opposite way, trying to keep things light. We loop around, start heading towards the street. The only way out without doubling back, and that's when it gets really weird. A car pulls up to the exit of the park. It's just sitting there with its headlights on, pointing directly at us. We don't think much of it at first, until the car starts slowly creeping forward. No one gets out. No windows roll down. It just approaches. My friend grabs my arm and says, "We need to go, now." We bolt, but in panic, we split up. She runs back towards the park, and I run towards this random row of driveways with cars parked alongside them. The car follows me. I don't know how I thought of it, but I dove underneath the car and laid flat, completely hidden in the shadows. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought whoever was in the car could hear it. Then the car stops. I hear doors open, and footsteps. Two men. One of them say, "I don't think they came this way. Check the other side." I stayed absolutely frozen, holding my breath until I was sure they were gone. I must have waited a full 10 minutes under that car before I crawled out and sprinted in the opposite direction. I eventually found my friend. She was crying, shaking. She thought I got taken. She pulled me into a hug and just kept saying, "Oh my God, you're alive." When I told her what happened, her face went pale. She said after we split, she ran back into the park and saw a man standing by the gate. He cracked his neck, crouched down, stared at her, like full-on eye contact, unblinking. And then he smiled. She ran and hid until it was safe to come out. We both walked all the way back to her house. It took us nearly 2 hours, and we did not sleep that night. We haven't gone back to the park since. We still don't know what those people wanted. But I can tell you this, they weren't just messing around. Stay safe, and if you ever get that gut feeling that something is wrong, run. I've been bitten. Let's get that out of the way. I'm not making it out of here. I don't know how long I have until I'm like them. So we have to hurry, okay? I start to draw on the whiteboard. This is a school. This is the gym. And here is where the teacher's lounge is. The wound on my leg is bleeding. I know they can see it. I stop to tighten up my makeshift bandage. We don't panic, I say slowly to my 7 remaining students. Their faces pale and wide-eyed. We plan. They glance at each other nervously. I put on my best face. They need to be confident if this is going to work. If they freeze out there, they'll be ripped apart. I start to hand out thick textbooks to everyone. I take the last and begin to rip out the pages until only the cover remains. I tape the pageless book loosely into the forearm of Sophia, the class leader. Now, If I'm gonna bite or scratch you, I say, you have a shield. Use it to escape an attack. I slowly attack Sophia. She blocks my faux strike, and I go in to bite her forearm. But the book does the job. Then, while your attacker is busy, with your shield, slip out of it and run away. Like a lizard and its tail? Corey says, his scientific mind always making connections. Exactly. Get started with the books and try not to have too much fun with it. I know you've wanted to do this for a while now. The mood lightens a bit. They start on their project, reminiscent of craft time. I am so astonished by their resiliency. I'm fully aware that my time is finite and every second counts, but I take a moment to bask in my pride. I return to the whiteboard and continue detailing the diagram in ways they would recognize. There's a tug on my shirt. It's the twins, Lena and Micah. I'm sorry, I don't think there's an exit there. Lena finishes softly, pointing to the fire escape I marked beside the east hallway. I blink, leaning in closer to the board. What do you mean? Micah steps up beside her, silent as always, and opens the tattered notebook he never lets go. There's a rough sketch inside of our school. You made this? The detail in the sketch is impressive. It was bricked over during the summer remodel. The other side of that wall is a bathroom now. She says calmly. They're right. How could I forget that? I hand the marker to Micah and the twins go to work on the whiteboard. I check on the others. Sophia has finished hers and is helping making extras for Lena and Micah. She's very observant and feeling the need of the moment without being asked. There's a shuffling outside the door. Everyone stops what they're doing and watches. The blinds are down. That's typical of lockdown protocol. But the slow scraping sound of dragging, limping. A whinny is what we call them. They're most common in the school. They drag their ribboned flesh down the halls into classrooms while calling the name. Winnie. Sophia wraps an arm around the smallest girl, Ellie. Corey places a paper-shielded hand gently on her back. Winnie. It starts to bang on the door. Winnie. Winnie. I motion everyone to stay quiet and still. I wish I could call for help, but not even 911 is picking up. All phones do now is make noise, which gives me an idea. I go to Antonio and make a gesture to take out his phone. He looks at me, confused. I have written him up for being distracting with it, which means I know he has it. We don't have time for rules. Take out your phone, I say in a hush. I'm not taking it from you. Winnie. He relents. My mom said not to tell anyone. She won't get me another. I motion for him and everyone else to watch. I take out my phone and write my phone number on the whiteboard. Dial my number, and when I say so, press the call button. Antonio gives me a nod of acknowledgement. I motion to the largest boy, Derek, to come over to where I am. I remember his grandma showing me pictures of him playing pee-wee baseball, and since I'm going to be controlling the door, in case things get out of hand, I trust him to make the throw that will let us, them, finish their preparations. My head is starting to hurt. Derek crouches beside me, eyes flicking to the door, to my leg, to the phone glowing dimly in my palm. Where do you want it? He whispers. Far, I say. Down by the art wing lockers. You remember how the floor slopes? Let gravity help you. It still needs to function. I hand him the phone. I count down silently from 3, then open the door enough to let Derek do his thing. With a swift underhand motion, the phone goes sliding down the hallway. I slam the door hard. Now, Antonio, I say, holding the door shut from the now aggressive Winnie pushing from the other side. A moment later, the shrill sound of my ringtone playing echoes in the hall. The door's force eases. Winnie. The sound of a dragging limb moves away, and with the end of the ringing also comes the end of the thread. For now, I need to sit down. I'm feeling sore. My leg feels hot. They watch me move to my chair and slump in it. Looking at them reminds me of a balloon losing air. "What do we do when we're outside?" Sophia asks. "Look after each other. Find somewhere safe. Never stop learning. I don't know what's waiting out there, but I do believe in all of you." "We could go to my house. I don't have any neighbors. It's kind of far, but there's plenty of room, and my mom's been canning all summer if you like veggies." Ellie peeps. She doesn't usually speak up in a group like this. She, like all of them, is growing up before my eyes. I wish I could go with them to ensure their safety, but that was never part of my job. My job has always been to prepare them for the outside world. I hope I've done enough. Everyone look at the whiteboard. Try to memorize the route outside. You can't go the way you usually would. 5 minis and then it's time to go. Things are getting dizzy. They wear their bravest faces. I sit behind my desk and watch them as each gives me a last look. Derek watches over Ellie. Corey holds his shield prepared for defense. Lena and Micah, navigation at the ready. Antonio gathers all the phones from the confiscation box and shoves them in his pockets. And Sophia, confident and strong. "We don't panic, we plan," she says as the last of them enters the hallway. They're ready for anything. When they're gone, I just stare at their seats. I could feel the blood running down my leg and see the pool it's making underneath me. There's a sweater at one of the desks. They need every advantage they can get, I say to myself. With a groan, I get up and grab the sweater. I open the door and wonder if they would still hear me if I called. Winnie. A bit of context here before I begin. I, 21, female, work in the hospitality industry, specifically doing graveyard shifts, usually running from around 11 to 7 a.m. I have seen and dealt with some of the most insane experiences. I could probably write a book at this point. But this particular experience was one of the most frightening. I was brought up to be caring, empathetic, and understanding. These core values mean a lot to me, and I live by them. On numerous occasions, I've been told that constantly having this mentality could lead to me being the target of people with ill intentions. And I didn't really believe that. It's nice to be nice, after all. But in hindsight, after everything that's happened, I've learned to be a bit more skeptical. Usually on these graveyard shifts, there's 2 of us in the building at all times. When we finish our work, we're basically free to just sit there and relax for the remainder of our shift, or at least until the morning manager arrived at roughly 6 a.m. So I did just that, finished my tasks, and sat down in the main area of the building to have a late night snack and watch some reels on my phone. As you do. My coworker decided he would take a nap as it was roughly 3 a.m. at this point and nobody was around, so it was fine by me. About 20 minutes passed when I heard the commotion near the bar area. Obviously, I looked up from my phone only to meet the eyes of this man, around 40 maybe, just standing at the bar counter. This wasn't unusual. Oftentimes people would come down to grab some water or a smoke before heading back to bed. I thought nothing of it and went back to scrolling on my phone. "Sorry, excuse me." I let out a sigh, thinking to myself, what could this man possibly want from me at 3:30 in the morning? I stood up and asked if he was okay, and apologized for being on my phone, hoping he wouldn't complain to my manager in the morning. He responded, but I couldn't quite pick up what he was saying. I walked over to the bar and kindly asked him to repeat himself, apologizing for not hearing. "Is it okay if I have some water?" he He was shaking, almost nervous, soft-spoken and honestly not threatening, bar the fact he was about 6 foot taller than my 5. Of course I said yes and went to walk away when he stopped me. "I'm sorry, is it okay if I talk to you for a while? My mom has died in the hospital. I can't sleep." Looking back, I'm kicking myself for not making up some excuse about needing to do work, but I agreed to stay and talk with him. Stupid fucking empathy. He asked if I smoked, and I do, so I said yes. He then asked me to step outside and smoke and talk, and I stupidly agreed. We talked about his mom, and I tried my best to comfort him. I just recently had someone pass away, so this topic of conversation hit particularly hard. He thanked me for being so kind and continued to talk about his life, how he used to be homeless, but he moved in with his sister and got back on his feet, and that they were both staying here due to the circumstances, but were not from this city. I listened and occasionally responded by nodding. It was a polite conversation. "Are there cameras out here? I wouldn't want you to get in trouble for being out here with me." How this didn't register in my mind as a red flag is unbelievable. How gullible was I? Anyway, thankfully I didn't respond with a yes or no. Just assured him I wouldn't get in trouble for being outside smoking. He seemed disappointed with my answer. I presume it's because he didn't get any information about where the cameras were placed. The conversation kept getting creepier and weirder. I didn't realize this at the time. I just saw a sad man needing a friend. Yes, I know, I'm stupid and angry at myself too. Eventually some sort of fight or flight activated in my brain. I told him I was cold and I was going in. "Come here, I'll give you a hug, it'll warm you up." What the fuck? At this point I'm creeped out and thinking maybe he's just a bit bad at picking up on social cues or something, so I declined and walked inside. He followed. He asked if he could grab a coffee and sit with me for a while, and being by myself and on the verge of a panic attack and not wanting to get on this guy's bad side, I reluctantly agreed. We sat there as he continued to ask odd questions. "Do you have kids?" "No." "Do you want kids? Do you have a boyfriend?" I told him I had a fiancé. I'll lie. "Do you love him? I mean no harm in asking these questions. You're so beautiful." At this point, my brain was screaming. I needed to get out of this situation. I had to think quick. "Come sit next to me. I won't bite." Fuck no. I quickly made up the excuse that I needed to get my area ready for the morning and that my manager would be showing up at any minute. At the same time, my coworker woke from his nap and passed to get a coffee. This startled the man and he stood up saying, "Tell your mom I was asking for her," forcing a hug, and left to go to his room. Oh my fucking god, he was pretending to be a family friend so that my coworker wouldn't be suspicious of him. I stood there in shock, not even being able to speak. My brain was still trying to process what the fuck just happened. I kept quiet, helping my coworker set up for the morning, as it was now 5:30 in the morning. Yes, I was dealing with this man for 2 fucking hours. I sat down at 5:50 and waited for my manager to show up, hoping that man wouldn't come back down before I got to leave. Wishful thinking. He showed up behind me out of nowhere. "I think I'll have to go to the shops. I'm out of smokes." Okay, I need to know this. Why? I kept silent before he asked for my pen, which I gave him, and he walked off again. He returned 5 minutes later and gave me back my pen. "I wrote a note for you." Stood close to me, dropped a piece of cardboard behind my back, and walked away. In hindsight, I see how sneaky this was. He made sure no one could see him dropping that note. I picked it up. It was pretty weird, but one line in particular made my skin crawl. "Wear tighter work pants for me next time. They'd look good." I ran to the office and sat in front of the CCTV, seeing exactly where he was. He was standing outside of the building, pacing, waiting. He then walked back into the building, and on the camera I could see he was looking for me, but thankfully at this point I was in the office, so he walked back outside, started pacing again, and waiting before hiding himself out of sight behind a corner. I told my manager, who told me to exit from the back, which I did. I was shaking, checking behind me every few seconds, every noise making me run faster and faster until I reached the safety of my house. I sat down, processing what had just happened, when suddenly my phone vibrated. It was him. Thanks for the chat. Talk soon. How the fuck did he get my number? I have never blocked anyone quicker in my life. I told the higher-ups what had happened and I didn't return to work for at least a month, until he was permanently barred from my workplace. I'm still afraid I'll see him somewhere, that he'll be waiting. Thankfully, I haven't seen him since, and I don't wish to. And if you're reading this, let's not meet again. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the end. It really means a lot to me. I plan to keep up with the horror and some new gaming content, as well as film reviews and video essays. So if you're interested, please subscribe and support the authors slash posters that these stories came from, and check out my novelette, work in progress, Absolute Dark, on webnovel.com. Yeah, I'm gonna work on some gameplay in just a second here, and thank you so very much. It really means a lot. Any criticism, tips, mistakes, anything at all, please reach out, and thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.